Las Vegas has always been a symbol, a city built to escape reality, to feel larger than life, and to promise that anything could happen. For decades, it represented possibility for ordinary Americans, a place where excitement felt accessible, indulgence felt earned, and memories felt worth the cost. But something has changed, not suddenly, and not in a way that's easy to point at. The lights are still on, the hotels are still full, the strip still looks alive. Yet beneath the surface, the experience feels different, more expensive, more controlled, and less personal. This isn't a story about a city collapsing, it's a story about a city transforming, about how decisions made in the name of efficiency, growth, and profit slowly reshape the way people feel, and how that shift, once it reaches a certain point, becomes impossible to ignore. What's happening in Las Vegas isn't just about tourism. It reflects a larger pattern across modern America, a tension between value and experience, between optimization and meaning. This is not a nostalgic look back, and it's not a prediction of the end. It's an examination of the present, of what Las Vegas has become, why it feels different, and what that difference tells us about the future of entertainment itself. For decades, Las Vegas was not designed for the ultra-wealthy. It was built for the American middle class. Teachers, nurses, truck drivers, service workers, young couples, and retirees once saw Vegas as the perfect escape, a place where a short flight, an affordable hotel, and inexpensive entertainment could turn an ordinary weekend into something memorable. Las Vegas didn't have to be practical. It only had to feel worth it. For a long time it did. Cheap rooms were easy to find. Parking was free. Food courts and buffets offered filling meals at reasonable prices. You could walk the strip without constantly opening your wallet. Even losing money at the tables felt acceptable because the overall experience balanced it out. Vegas understood its role. It was a pressure valve for middle-class America. Today, that balance is gone. Las Vegas has become expensive in a way that feels aggressive rather than aspirational. Hotel prices have climbed, but the real shock comes after booking. Resort fees add nightly charges that many visitors don't fully understand until they arrive. Parking, once free and unlimited, now comes with daily fees that quietly drain budgets. Meals that used to cost a few dollars now rival prices in major coastal cities. This shift isn't happening because Americans suddenly can't afford to travel. The problem is value. Middle-class travelers still take vacations, but they've become far more selective. When people compare what they get for their money, Vegas no longer stands out. A road trip offers flexibility without constant fees. Cruises bundle food, lodging, and entertainment into one predictable price. Even staying home and exploring nearby cities often feels less stressful and more rewarding. Vegas now demands premium prices while delivering an experience that feels fragmented and transactional. Visitors don't feel like guests anymore, they feel like revenue streams. Every step, every convenience, every basic comfort comes with an added cost. For many Americans, the trip ends with a familiar thought: the money spent doesn't match the memories gained. That is why fewer middle-class Americans are asking, when can we go back to Vegas? Instead, they're asking a different question. Is Vegas still worth the trip? And more often than not, the answer is no. At first glance, Las Vegas still looks affordable. Hotel listings advertise surprisingly low nightly rates, often cheaper than hotels in major American cities. For many travelers, especially middle-class families and couples, this creates a sense of relief. Vegas appears to understand their budget, but that impression rarely survives the check-in desk. Resort fees have become one of the most controversial symbols of modern Las Vegas. These charges are added on top of the advertised room price and are often framed as mandatory. Wi-Fi, pool access, gym usage, local calls. Services many guests never asked for and sometimes never use. What begins as a reasonable booking quickly becomes something far more expensive. The frustration isn't just about money, it's about expectation. Travelers plan their trips based on what they believe they are paying. When the final bill is significantly higher than what was advertised, the experience feels dishonest, legally compliant, but emotionally misleading. Many visitors describe it the same way. They feel tricked, not upgraded. Hidden charges extend beyond resort fees. Parking fees, early check-in fees, late checkout fees, convenience charges, service fees. Each one small on its own, but together they form a system that quietly extracts more money at every step. The city that once felt open and inviting now feels layered with toll booths. this is where trust breaks. Tourists don't expect Vegas to be cheap, they expect it to be upfront. When pricing feels intentionally confusing, people stop giving the benefit of the doubt. They become defensive, cautious, and less willing to spend freely. Instead of enjoying the city, visitors start calculating every decision. Once that trust is damaged, it rarely recovers. Many tourists say they will still travel, just not back to Vegas. The feeling of being legally overcharged leaves a deeper mark than a high price ever could. High prices can be justified. Broken transparency cannot. Las Vegas didn't lose visitors because it charged more. It lost them because it charged more without saying so clearly. And in a world where travelers have endless options, that sense of betrayal is often enough to make the decision for them. Walking through a Las Vegas casino today feels different. The lights are still bright, the machines still blink and sing, the tables are still open, yet something is missing. The energy that once filled the casino floor has faded, replaced by long stretches of quiet and empty seats. Many assume this means people no longer want to gamble. That assumption is wrong. Americans have not lost their appetite for gambling. Sports betting, online casinos, and state lotteries continue to grow across the country. The desire to take risks, to test luck, and to chase excitement is still very much alive. What has changed is the environment in which Vegas now asks people to play. Table minimums have risen sharply. Games that once welcomed casual players now demand serious money just to sit down. A $20 experiment has become a $100 commitment. For middle-class visitors, this changes the entire tone of the experience. Gambling no longer feels like entertainment, it feels like pressure. Rules have also tightened, blackjack payouts reduced, favorable odds quietly removed, side bets added to extract more money while offering little return. Many experienced players notice these changes immediately. Even casual visitors sense that something feels off. The games are still there, but they no longer feel fair in spirit. Slot machines tell the same story. They look more advanced, more colorful, more immersive than ever, but many players describe them as colder and less rewarding. Wins feel rarer, playtime feels shorter, money disappears faster. Whether mathematically true or not, perception matters. When players feel the system is stacked too aggressively against them, enjoyment disappears. Las Vegas once understood a simple truth. People are willing to lose money if the experience feels honest. Losing can still be fun when it comes with excitement, atmosphere, and the sense of having had a fair chance. Today, many visitors feel something different. They don't feel unlucky, they feel manipulated. That feeling changes behavior. People walk past tables instead of sitting down. They put smaller bills into machines, or none at all. They leave the casino floor earlier than they used to. Empty spaces aren't a sign that gambling is dying. They are a sign that trust is. Vegas didn't lose gamblers because people stopped wanting to play. It lost them because it forgot why people were willing to play in the first place. Las Vegas was never just about buildings, lights, or machines. It was about people. The dealers who joked with players, the front desk staff who remembered faces, the servers who made guests feel seen. Even in the middle of chaos, human interaction wasn't an extra feature, it was the experience. Today, that experience is quietly disappearing. Check-in kiosks replace front desks. Digital keys replace conversation. Apps replace questions. Guests are guided by screens instead of people. Everything is faster, cleaner, and more efficient. On paper, it makes perfect sense. But efficiency comes with a cost. Visitors arrive tired, confused, or overwhelmed, only to be greeted by a machine asking them to follow instructions. There is no small talk, no reassurance, no sense of arrival. The moment that once marked the beginning of a Vegas escape now feels like logging into a system. Inside casinos and restaurants, automation continues the same pattern. Tablet ordering, automated payments, robotic servers. Interactions become brief and transactional. Staff are present but stretched thin, often tasked with managing systems rather than engaging with guests. The warmth that once softened the chaos of Vegas is replaced by polite distance. This matters more than it seems. Vegas was built on emotion, excitement, confidence, spontaneity. Human connection amplified all of it. When that connection fades, the city begins to feel colder, even when it's louder and brighter than ever. Guests don't necessarily complain about the technology. Many accept it, some even prefer it, but something subtle changes. Visitors stop feeling like they are being hosted. They start feeling processed, moved efficiently from one transaction to the next. A city that once sold fantasy now sells convenience. And convenience by itself rarely creates memories. Las Vegas didn't lose its soul overnight. It outsourced it, one interaction at a time. When people talk about Las Vegas losing visitors, they often focus on crowds, foot traffic, or empty hotel rooms. What rarely gets discussed is a quieter shift happening behind the scenes, one that doesn't trend on social media and doesn't spark public outrage: the gradual disappearance of loyal high rollers. High rollers don't announce their departure. They don't complain online. They don't leave angry reviews. Their influence was never loud to begin with. They were valuable because they were consistent, predictable, and deeply woven into the casino economy. When they leave, they do so silently. For decades, Las Vegas invested heavily in this group: personalized service, flexible rules, private rooms, and a sense of privilege that felt earned rather than forced. High rollers weren't just spending money, they were forming relationships. They trusted the system and felt respected by it. That trust has eroded. As Vegas became more corporate and standardized, personal treatment began to disappear. Decisions once handled by experienced hosts are now governed by algorithms and policies. Loyalty is measured by data points rather than relationships. For players used to discretion and flexibility, this shift feels cold and restrictive. Meanwhile, alternatives have grown more attractive. Macau offers scale and exclusivity. Private resorts provide privacy and control. Invitation-only gambling environments deliver tailored experiences without the crowds or constant upselling. These places understand what Vegas is slowly forgetting. High-value players don't want to feel managed. They want to feel valued. The impact of their departure isn't immediately visible. Casino floors can still look busy. Hotels can still appear full, but revenue quality changes. When high rollers leave, casinos rely more heavily on volume rather than loyalty. That shift quietly weakens the foundation of the industry. Las Vegas didn't lose its most loyal players in a dramatic collapse. It lost them through indifference. And by the time their absence becomes obvious, the damage has already been done. Las Vegas was once unapologetic. It knew exactly what it was and who it was for. An adult playground built on excess, risk, and escape. It didn't try to appeal to everyone, and that clarity was its strength. People came to Vegas because it offered something they couldn't find anywhere else. Over time, that clarity began to fade. Las Vegas started chasing multiple identities at once. It wanted to be family-friendly, offering attractions suitable for children. It wanted to be ultra-luxury, catering to wealth and exclusivity. It wanted to be corporate, polished, and safe. At the same time, it still wanted to appear edgy and rebellious. The result was confusion. Today, the Strip often feels like an expensive theme park, carefully curated, heavily controlled, and designed to guide visitors through predetermined experiences. The danger, spontaneity, and unpredictability that once defined Vegas have been softened or removed. What remains is spectacle without edge. This shift creates a disconnect. Families find the city overwhelming and costly. Luxury travelers find it crowded and commercial. Longtime visitors feel something essential is missing but struggle to name it. Vegas no longer clearly communicates what kind of experience it is offering. When a city tries to be everything, it risks becoming nothing in particular. Identity is not built through branding alone. It comes from consistency and confidence. Vegas once embraced its flaws and contradictions. Now it hides behind layers of design, policy, and corporate messaging. The problem isn't that Las Vegas changed. Change is inevitable. The problem is that it changed without choosing a direction. In trying to reinvent itself for everyone, Vegas lost the very personality that made people fall in love with it in the first place. From the outside, Las Vegas still looks polished. Hotels sparkle, casinos shine, and entertainment runs on schedule. But behind the neon lights, the system that supports the experience is under strain. Service quality has declined, not because workers stopped caring, but because the conditions surrounding them have changed. Many hospitality workers in Las Vegas are exhausted. Long shifts, understaffed teams, and constant pressure have become normal. Turnover is high, and experience is lost as quickly as it's gained. New employees are often expected to perform at full speed with minimal training, while veteran staff carry heavier workloads to fill the gaps. This strain is closely tied to economics. The cost of living in Las Vegas has risen sharply, especially housing, transportation, and basic necessities. Wages, however, have not kept pace. For many workers, especially in service roles, the math no longer works. Multiple jobs, long commutes, and burnout are common realities. Tourists feel the consequences of this imbalance. Lines are longer, requests take more time, small mistakes happen more often. Guests sometimes interpret this as indifference or poor attitude, but the reality is more complex. Most workers are doing their best within a system that leaves little room for patience or care. The decline in service quality isn't caused by individuals, it's structural. When employees are stretched thin and underpaid, consistency becomes impossible. Hospitality depends on energy, attention, and emotional labor. Those are difficult to sustain when basic stability is out of reach. Las Vegas built its reputation on service that felt personal and generous. Today, that standard is harder to maintain, not because the people have changed, but because the environment no longer supports them. The lights are still bright, but behind them, the foundation is quietly cracking. On paper, the Las Vegas Strip is heavily secured. Cameras are everywhere. Police patrols are visible. Private security is constant. By most measurable standards, the Strip is safe. Yet for many visitors, especially American tourists, safety is no longer the issue. Comfort is. Walking the Strip today often feels tense. Crowds are dense and unpredictable. Noise is constant. Encounters feel less controlled and more confrontational. Visitors find themselves more alert than relaxed, scanning their surroundings instead of enjoying them. This isn't fear, it's unease. Entertainment is supposed to lower defenses. It should create a sense of ease, where people feel free to wander, explore, and linger. On the Strip, that feeling has weakened. Many tourists shorten their walks, stay indoors longer, or retreat to their hotels earlier than planned. The instinct isn't panic, it's fatigue. Part of this comes from overstimulation. The Strip is louder, brighter, and more aggressive than ever. Street performers, promotions, crowds, and constant visual noise compete for attention. There is little space to breathe. What was once exciting now feels overwhelming. Another part comes from unpredictability. Visitors often describe the environment as controlled but unstable. Security is present, yet the atmosphere feels on edge. When people sense that comfort depends on constant vigilance, relaxation becomes impossible. This shift subtly changes behavior. Tourists spend less time walking, they explore fewer properties, they disengage sooner. Even if nothing goes wrong, the emotional cost adds up. People leave feeling drained instead of energized. Las Vegas didn't lose its safety, it lost its sense of ease. And in a city built on escape, that difference matters more than most realize. There was a time when walking into a Las Vegas casino felt like entering a different world. Each property had its own personality, its own rhythm, its own surprises. You didn't just choose a hotel, you chose an atmosphere. That sense of discovery was part of the appeal. Today, many casinos feel interchangeable. Polished interiors, luxury retail spaces, familiar restaurant chains, expensive nightclubs, and high-priced shows repeat across the Strip. The environments are impressive but predictable. Once you've seen one, you've seen much of the rest. This corporate uniformity is intentional. Standardization reduces risk and maximizes efficiency. Brands rely on proven formulas rather than experimentation. From a business perspective, it makes sense. From a visitor's perspective, it drains the experience of meaning. When everything feels similar, nothing feels special. The sense of a once-in-a-lifetime trip fades into something closer to a premium shopping mall with gambling attached. Visitors stop exploring and start comparing prices. If the experience is largely the same, cost becomes the deciding factor. This shift affects how people remember Vegas. Memories blur together. Properties lose their individual identities. The excitement of discovering something unexpected is replaced by the comfort of familiarity, and familiarity rarely inspires loyalty. Las Vegas once thrived on risk, not just at the tables, but in its design and imagination. As the city becomes more corporate, it becomes safer and more controlled, but also more forgettable. When a place loses its uniqueness, it enters direct competition with everything else. And in that competition, the cheapest option usually wins. Vegas didn't lose its audience because it stopped being impressive. It lost them because it stopped being irreplaceable. Las Vegas is often treated as an exception, a city of excess, spectacle, and exaggeration, something separate from the rest of America. But what is happening in Vegas is not isolated, it is a reflection. The changes reshaping Las Vegas mirror broader patterns across the country. Short-term profit over long-term trust. Efficiency prioritized over experience. Growth measured in margins rather than meaning. Vegas didn't invent these trends. It adopted them faster and more visibly than most places. For decades, the city thrived because it understood why people came. Not just to gamble or spend money, but to feel something. Escape, excitement, connection, freedom. Those emotions were the product being sold, and money followed naturally. As that focus shifted, the experience became thinner. Prices rose while generosity disappeared. Technology replaced touch. Policies replaced judgment. The city didn't collapse. It optimized. And in doing so, it revealed the limits of optimization. Vegas is not dying, it is functioning exactly as designed, but design without soul produces hollow success. Numbers may still look strong, yet something essential is missing. When entertainment begins to feel transactional, people disengage quietly. This is why Vegas matters beyond tourism statistics. It shows what happens when systems forget the human reason they exist. The same logic is spreading across entertainment, hospitality, and consumer culture in America. Las Vegas stands as a warning, not a ruin. A reminder that people don't return because something is efficient or profitable. They return because it made them feel alive. And when that feeling disappears, the decline doesn't come with noise or collapse. It comes with indifference.